And welcome to the Milo Beasley Show, dude. I'm super excited for our guest today. Uh, I want to say a certain word, but maybe it's not my place. So please help me welcome at this time. You know him as the guy. You know, Ben Curtis. How are you doing, man?
Dude.
That's the word, man. How are you, man?
Well, I'm doing all right. I've been through a lot of different spaces this week, but in general, I feel really blessed. Life is very abundant, and I feel really grateful. And I'm just grateful to be here.
That's
So,
that's fantastic. And folks, you're like, gosh, like you so familiar. Like what? Yes, Ben is the Dell Dude from the commercial. Gosh, man, I don't even want to say what years those were. Say what early 2000s maybe.
that's right. Yeah, 2000 to 2003. And it sounds like you may not have seen the new ones that were just out
I
recently.
have.
Okay,
There
so they're
was
back. So as of December.
Yeah, right. Fantastic. And I saw that there was a like a Super Bowl commercial, but it didn't air, right? Is that um because I know right about that, January there were a
Mhm.
ton of the new commercials, which
Oh
was
yeah.
super happy to see.
No, I
Um
think Dell would have been smart to do a Super Bowl commercial with the dude, but they did not. So, but we did a really incredible. See, Dell Technologies is doing a phenomenal job right now of really capturing what they're up to in the world and helping make technology a renewable energy, not just something where we're destroying the planet. So, they've done an incredible job of doing that. So they put me in space and a McLaren, and what was the other one in my office? Yeah,
right. The race car, the McLaren,
yeah,
that was
Formula
fantastic. So
One.
did you actually
Yeah.
get to like drive it a little bit, or is it all green screen?
Oh yeah, that was all me. Yeah, I raced the entire time. Yeah, no, I bet they would let me. I've seen celebrities; they don't even let celebrities touch their cars. They like you can post near them, but
Right.
yeah,
Well, those things are like $1 million machines.
yeah,
Those
yeah. And
race
they
cars.
there's one, yeah, but it's really cool to see Dell out there in the world representing.
Absolutely. So, going back to 1999, 2000, when you first got the job, um, how did that come about? Like, was it just a massive audition? Did they see something in a reel and ask you to audition?
Oh no, so and by the way, I'm just looking at on camera, like thinking of auditioning and stuff. I'm recovering from a surfing accident that I had. So I have this whole swollen eye, and certain mornings it just like puffs up. And I had a board of the face that split my face
Ooh,
open. So I got really into surfing lately. It's part of my well-being and what I love. And I'm here to tell the story that, I lived and I still love it.
man.
Um, so I just wanted to say that for everybody who may be like, what's up with that guy's face? Because it does look different than the commercials right now. Um, so I just put that out there. As for the Dell commercials, how they started, well, I was in acting. I am from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and my dream was to be an actor. There's one actor in our family. She was amazing. She was on Broadway and soap operas and TV. And we would go visit her in New York, and she was just like, wow to me. And I would meet like movie stars in her backyard. And I just, my dad was a preacher, and I kind of saw him entertaining but doing it through love and moving people. And, I say entertaining, but just bringing like the message to people in a way that they could hear it. And I think that just brought out an entertainer in me, and things weren't always great in my household growing up, but I just knew I had to be an actor. And so I auditioned for NYU, which was my dream school. I didn't think I'd ever get in, let alone afford it. And not only did I get in academically, but I got offered an acting scholarship, and that allowed us to go. And from there, I just, when you know what you love and you follow your dream, and you're in New York, you got to give it your all. And I really, and I still do that to this day. I believe in following your dreams as part of your well-being, and doing what you love as part of that. And So I just build beasts of accountability around me to make sure I do what I love, and putting my butt in New York and New York University really had me do that. And I went after it. I thought it would take years, and I got it into in front of an agent, and got they saw something in me, and I got out to auditions, and within months I landed the Dell computer commercial. I
Oh,
was the
wow.
only guy there without his mom, because it was for 13 to 17-year-olds. So I was 19,
Oh,
but I was a great actor. I already had it intuitively. I'd already been training some, and I knew what they wanted. I knew this kid. I was like, that's me. I was great at manipulating my parents into buying me things, and using my heart and charm to do so. Mostly because I build good cases too, and I always thought in business, and that really like that was the first commercial. This kid's like, "Mom, Dad," and he has this whole thing like
right.
spiel, and puts himself on videotape to get all he wanted. And what's really cool is 20 years later, both Dell and I have grown up, and are both doing great things for the planet now, and it all really started there. So I have to thank them for boosting me in and saying yes to me.
Do you think that you have said the word dude more than anybody on the planet?
Mm. I was thinking about that, like the dude where's my car
Right.
guys.
That's it. That was the only one I could think of that
No, I'm
maybe.
pretty sure I have. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I have.
yeah,
And I do it even more now. I notice I do it all the time now. And
you just do it
I've
all the
owned it. Yeah, I have. So I have a podcast called Dude, You're Getting Well. And I haven't even officially launched it yet. I'm getting like this just superstar cast right now that hopefully will include Michael Dell. I'm waiting to hear back from him. So I'm really excited about that. I talk about wellness all the time, and from the dude standpoint, and I work mostly with dudes, even though I believe dude is a transgender word, like
what
beyond all
right. Yeah,
genders.
I think you're right. I think it encompasses all. I think like I use bro and dude,
Yeah.
no matter who I'm talking to.
I
So I
mean,
think
you may be like around the age to still remember this, but there was a show on Nickelodeon called Hey Dude,
hey, yes,
and
100%.
Melanie, who I can't remember her real name, she's married to Ben Stiller, the
Right.
actress. She's awesome. I just can't think. I'm blanking on her name.
Yeah,
Anyway, I had
she's
a
no,
crush
yeah,
on both the women in that show, and Brad, that was the other character, the woman in that show. And so I was like, oh, they're on a dude ranch. Like women are part of this. And so for me, it was like, oh yeah, we're all dudes. Yeah. So that's what I'd say.
100%. And
My
then so
pronouns are he, him, dude.
that's
But
fantastic.
Instagram doesn't give you that option yet.
No, no, I'm gonna steal that though.
Okay.
And then how did come 20 years later in 2022, the end of 2021, how did it come back to the marriage between Ben and Dell?
That's a great question. Well, I'll talk about it metaphysically, and then I'll talk about it in reality. I think metaphysically because if you know me or have seen my YouTube page, like, and I give everyone I know this manifestation meditation that I created for my clients, because I really believe in the power of asking for what you want and then getting out of the way. And one thing I realized is I really wanted to work with Dell again, and I saw so many opportunities. And so I kept asking them throughout the years. And even 5 years ago, they said, listen, we're not really. I'd gotten hold of Michael Dell on Twitter, and then we developed this communication. And I think he's a great guy, and I believe in what he's doing. And we, I pitched this idea, and basically what I said, like, I've grown up, so have you. And I think we could do really incredible things for the world. I see like Steve as a CEO now, Steve the Dell Dude, or he's like some corporate, some high up managerial position, or start his own tech company. And they said, we've really moved on from Steven and that brand. We're not trying to sell computers to people. I mean, we are, but
Right.
the thing is, we're a global entity, and we've really moved beyond any one person. I said, I totally get that. And nostalgia is back. Like, look at all the people they're bringing back. And this could be the greatest thing that you ever do. and us
Right.
both show how the company and I have evolved. So they were like, they actually were interested. And then I didn't hear from them for 5 years. And then I finally let go of it. And that is the key. I think I finally let go of it. So I have this belief that if you open your arms, then you actually have the space to receive something. So if you release something, you know, if you have a death grip and you're like trying to force something to happen, sometimes letting it go a little bit, I feel like, is a boomerang. And I just started following my heart and continued following my heart. And as a musician and a creator and wellness, I was doing yoga and personal training. But what I really got called into was coaching, and I started coaching and basically doing life coaching. But I support people in following their dreams and dealing with anything that's in the way, which is mostly our relationship with ourselves. So I work on people's relationship with themselves and tools for self-care. So I really started taking care of myself, and all those things I was doing back then. I struggled with addiction and trauma and a lot of things. And I just did massive amounts of self-care. I got sober and I just started working on myself and then sharing my medicine with the world. And I just followed my heart. And then it felt like out of nowhere, Dell came back and said, "Hey, we have this idea. We think it's great." And I said, "Good. I'm glad you finally think it's great. I do too." But it was perfect. And there very well may be more to come from that relationship. It's too early to tell, but
Right.
I'm just grateful for what I've done, and they're doing great things. So in reality is, you know, they just called me, and and I called them a few years ago, you know.
Right.
But I
Do
think
you,
it's keeping possibility alive and asking for what you want. I think those things are really important. And I say that for anyone, no matter who you are or what you do. You know, and I think if it's meant to be and you have the space for it, it'll happen. You know, if you really want it. You know, the other thing is I had to deal with, do I really want to be famous again? You know, during that fame, I dealt with a lot of trauma, and I didn't necessarily get a lot of respect as the Dell Dude. I was more like a character, you know,
right.
that people were like, "Oh man, this is such a weird thing," but you know, it was actually something I developed as an actor. So in the at the end of the day, there's something you said, you know, leading up to this podcast is, I just want to, you know, we're going to have fun. And I believe in bringing joy and having fun. And that's really important. And doing what you love is part of it. So,
100%.
you know, you can be rich and wealthy in your life wherever you are, as long as if you want to have fun, you can enjoy anything you have right now.
What 100%. And I do want to talk about the life coach stuff. But before I do that, I
I'm jumping
definitely have
ahead.
to
I know,
hit
Milo.
on um you're again, you said, hey, you're an actor. And since then you've been able to be on some fantastic dream shows. What was it like? Orange, first off, Orange is the New Black. Uh, getting to appear on that, and then the marvelous Miss Maisel. Like
Hmm.
that. I mean, to my dog is going nuts. I don't know if you can
Maybe
hear.
your dog really likes that show.
Huge fan.
And I love
Um,
dogs. So thank you.
to be at that, oh, well, maybe the acting career might be over, time to pursue something else. And then, these dream type gigs come about.
Hmm. Yeah. So what was your question?
The question
So
was,
how's that happen?
well, one, how did those, come, how did you get were you continuously after, the commercials ended, did you keep trying out? Did you keep auditioning? And is that how
Hmm.
you landed those? Or did
Hmm.
something else, like you said, the manifestation, did that
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, great question. I both. I mean, I think I manifested in that I never gave up. I actually, after the Dell commercials and after the famous arrest and all that, I went on to produce theater. I mean, I was I don't want to say victim, but in a way, yeah, I was, of 9/11. I was highly impacted by September 11th. I lived in ground zero. And so I was in school still. I was at NYU as an actor. So I was using what I was learning. I started doing political street theater, like putting things into theater in Union Square in New York City to talk about what we're doing. I produced a play called Indian Wants the Bronx, and it was Al Pacino's first big famous role, and it was about an Irish and Jewish kid that just abused this Indian man because they don't understand him and their own ignorance. And it's a very controversial play, but we produced it in New York, and we took it to the Edinburgh Fringe Fest in response to 9/11 to say, look what we're doing to people just because they look different from us. You know,
Right.
we have reason to defend our country, but we can't just go attacking everyone who looks, you know, who's Muslim or who has dark skin or who looks different, you know.
Right.
And I played an Irish kid in this, and my Jewish friend played a Jewish kid, and we really owned the role. And our friend of ours from India played the Indian character, and you know, I don't know, I can't believe what it was like for him to go through that role. But we had talkbacks with audiences and invited them in. That's why we went to Edinburgh to bring in
Right.
the Indian population in the UK as well. You know, I then started my first feature film, Spy the Movie. A lot of people don't know about it. I went in, like, after Dell, I actually continued performing. I went on to do star and off Broadway shows and films and theater and voiceovers, and I still do all of that today. And I continued playing music. So I'm in an award-winning band with my wife called Dirty May.
Yeah, I definitely
MAE.
want to talk about that because I checked out some of the stuff on YouTube and I'm
Yeah.
super into it.
Yeah, so I just didn't give up. And I have a manager who really believes in me, Renata English. She's incredible, and she's been there since jump. And so she keeps, you know, we have a great relationship, and she keeps sending me out, and I send myself out on jobs, and I invite agents and casting directors to my work. And you know, I still take actions. And at some point, you know, I don't believe in trying to convince everyone that I'm the greatest or anything. I just believe in showing up and doing the work and telling the story. And so anytime I've gotten auditions, I do really well in them. They're fewer and far between these days. And still, like, you know, that's what's got me on those shows, is just believing in myself and believing in the work and believing in telling the story as well. So like Orange is the New Black was this hilarious character I played as like a Southie Boston guy. And I used to watch Good Will Hunting religiously and studied accents. So I was thrilled to be able to play a character. And we were in a Catholic school in like New York. So it was great. And then Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I was actually trying to get my band on there. And then I just suddenly got an audition for this role as this guy, and it was perfect. I don't know. It's, you know, I think if you're meant to get the job, you will, you know. And if the rest of it's just putting yourself out there, taking action, and then letting go of results. So that's like the manifestation part, right? Like I consistently take action towards what I care about, and then I let go.
That's
it.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a fantastic way to say it. Now, at what point did you change, you know, your life habits and decide to become a life coach? And how do you go from just changing your habits and helping yourself to wanting to help others?
That's a great question. I think you listen to your heart, and if you want to help others, you will. I was really blessed. I have to really say it's, you know, my parents, I had an exceptional, and exceptionally unusual upbringing. You know, I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I had two very liberal parents who taught me to believe for myself, to look at all sides, to listen to everyone. A father that it was a priest, but encouraged me to go to synagogues and learn from people, and who worked in civil rights and encouraged me to play in the all black baseball league as a kid, in different neighborhoods, you know. And so and my mom's worked with refugees. And so my parents just always were of service to people. So it's just, I think, part of inner nature. And my dad just taught me the importance of others, right? And he taught me about suffering at a very early age. And my parents taught me about feelings at a very early age. And we're all in therapy, so we all had to talk about our feelings. And, you know, I was a very sensitive boy, so that was not sexy growing up, you know. But what I learned is, as as I got feedback from the world and I started owning, myself as an actor, all these things I was avoiding about myself when I wasn't acting were these really sensitive sides. And it was through a coach and through coaching that I discovered my sensitivity could be my superpower.
Right.
And that I had access to a vulnerability that most men do not have access to. And and I've always done some kind of stuff for like I've always played sports. I've known I need to exercise. I feel great when I do it. When I was in school at NYU, I studied physical theater at one point. We were doing Ashtanga yoga every morning, and I was just like in incredible shape. And so wellness was so key. And no matter how drunk I ever got, and years later, like my go-to was I would be in the yoga studio the next day, or I'd run, or that's how I coped with anxiety after 9/11 and trauma. I was trying to, self-medicate with drugs and alcohol before I really knew what was going on, and exercise was the only thing kind of working, but I had to clear all that other stuff out of my system. So, and right before 9/11, I took one workshop in Landmark Education, which is this worldwide organization for personal growth and development, and similar to like a Tony Robbins thing, but they actually have ongoing courses, and it's not just one man, and they develop leaders inside. So there's a coaching opportunities. So I'd done that, and years later, I ended up meeting a friend who was coaching at Landmark, and I went and did some programs there, and I got really developed in coaching and coaching a lot of different people, and mostly just the training was being coached for listening for people's greatness. And this was all happening. And so and then I got sober, and, a lot of the 12-step programs are built on helping others. And if you're of service to someone else, you're helping yourself. And then I also learned in there, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help others. I was like, well, which is it? But like, if you can't breathe, you can't help someone else. So I just really got great at my practicing self-care. And then I started seeing all these men out in the world and people out in the world who didn't have tools for self-care, or for even to say how they're feeling, or any of this stuff. So, and then I decided, like, it was great to coach Landmark, but I wanted to get paid for coaching. And I believe in getting paid for my time. And I even asked my therapist, like we talked about it. I was like, I'm really interested in being a therapist. Tell me about it. She was like, you'd be great. Let me suggest things. And then I realized I didn't want to sit in an office all day and just listen to people. I wanted to actually hold people accountable to go be and do what they say they're going to do, because that's what's made a difference for me, as a coach who was like, that's great, but how are you going to take action? So I believe in both. I don't think there's any one wrong or right modality, and I still work with a therapist and I still work with a coach, but I just saw having someone in my corner to hold me accountable that was not me, that reminded me to ask for help, that reminded me of my greatness, that where I couldn't hide, was just invaluable. And I just started soaring as a coach, and soaring as an actor, and soaring as a musician. And the only difference was because I had accountability and structures to take action towards what I cared about. So I never stopped acting. I never stopped playing music, and I never stopped coaching. And I've just, during the pandemic, listened for the need and for the calls for help, even when they're silent. And men still have the highest rate of suicide. So I still listen for the men who aren't asking for help, who are asking for help. And so that's why I focus towards that, just because I know men traditionally, and unfortunately, it is still about gender in our country. We've been trained to shoulder burdens, and then it doesn't feel, and then it's not safe to share our feelings. And now, yet there's like, everyone's like, women are like, please just share your feelings. And we're like, we don't know how, it's not safe.
Right.
And now we've been in a pandemic for 18 months, and we're still like dipping our toes in, like, is it safe? Is it safe? And meanwhile, building rage on social media against each other. So what we really need to do is just come together and listen to each other and ask for help. So that's why I always say yes to things like this, as an opportunity to connect with a new person.
You mentioned your podcast, coming up, dude, you're getting well, but for folks who maybe want a sampling of that, I'm a huge fan of what you do on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays with Monday Motivation, Wake Up Wednesdays, and Freedom Fridays. And
Thank you.
being able to talk, on an open, forum like that. Um, what made you decide to start doing that on social media and to, like something like a Wake Up Wednesday where you just chat for an hour?
Um, well, one was being held accountable to do that. uh, I had a coach who was like, "Hey, now this is great that you've done all this training. Now you need to go share it. You need to like start coaching people.
Right.
So start something regular." And I started it with a guy named John Tran, who is also in that program, and we like fell in love, like brotherly love and we've still never gotten to hug in person. We've
Oh
only met
no.
like this. And and but we developed this great, Monday thing. It was Divine Masculine Mondays that we were doing every Monday. And I just um it was a calling for me every Monday to get out of my head and into what matters to me. And if I had a guest too, it was another accountability, and it worked, and it was such a great space. It's now I'm doing just Wake Up Wednesdays on Wednesday
Okay.
mornings. And and we're also, the dude, you're getting well, and all this, the things I'm doing regularly, like I'm still doing something regularly. I'm just scaling it back because I was
Right.
giving so much of myself. I was spreading myself thin. So now what I'm working on with my coach is just concentrating where I am. So I also have something called the Lion's Den, which is a weekly men's group that I coach and lead, and we all listen for each other's greatness, and it's a space to practice being vulnerable. And that's by application. I have a call with anyone who wants to do it, but I make it available. um, that's one of the programs I have for everyone, people who might not be able to afford to work with me one-on-one. So I create as much value as I can, and always put out, meditations and things like that. So
That-
my Instagram and my YouTube are both great pages to get, all of the content, and sharing all the realness and the fun and the stories too.
Uh, I agree. Again, I love the content being out there, but let's say, you just want to say screw it and you want to stay in bed all day and eat ice cream. How do you motivate yourself to get up and not do that?
It's a great question. And a lot of people are struggling with those days right now, especially
Me.
post
Yeah.
pandemic. Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that, Milo. Yeah, depression's real. It's really heavy right now. Anxiety. We're grieving. We've not necessarily known that or had the space to do it. So I'm just reminding people that, like, going through this pandemic and how quickly the world has changed and is changing, actually, like, grief comes with that, and we have to acknowledge it. So I think if there's any places where you're avoiding grief, that to lean into that and ask for help around those areas. That's some of the best ways. But as far as, like, I just say that as a precursor. As far as just what to do to get when you just don't feel like it, for me, it's you have to. It's getting creative and putting something in your day that has you get out of your head and into action. So accountability, I think, is probably one of the best things. Like having a buddy. If you can't do it alone, well, you don't have to do it alone, right? You can have a morning exercise friend. You could have a morning meeting, phone call. You could have a text buddy that you're both trying to get up at a certain time. I had a group where of coaches, and if I didn't get up by 8 a.m., I would have some kind of punishment. 8 a.m. was not early, really, but for me it was, because I was having such massive anxiety, depression every morning. I could not get out of bed, but I wanted to, and I know I could, but I couldn't access it. So my friends just put a big fire under my ass, and they're like, "Okay, what do you really care about that if you had to give up would be like have an impact?" And we were talking about acting and stuff, and finally they said, "Okay, if you don't wake up at 8 a.m. one day, you have to shave your head, because that's going to totally affect your acting career," right? And I was like, "It might, yeah." And it, sure enough, it happened. And so I ended up having to shave my head, and I had to do it live on Facebook and talk about why. And then halfway through, my clippers broke. And so I had this like gnarly hair. It took me like a week to get it repaired. And I was too ashamed to go to the Bronx to do it where I was that week, because like all the barbers had like perfect haircuts, and I ended up going to some small town to do it. Um, but it's just an opportunity to like destroy my ego and get up for something bigger. Like I have a friend who is really overweight and trying to start running, and so he was like became my text buddy because I was in better shape and trying to run, and I had been running. So I was like, shit, if he's trying to run, he's starting to run, then like maybe I can do it. So it's just like, where are you not asking for help? And what do where are you not? So if there's something you really care about, so my day would be, if you just want to sit in bed and eat ice cream, like, are you allowing yourself days to do that? Like, and if it's every day and you actually want to get something done, if there's something you care about, like, what is the thing you really care about? And do you have any help or support around it? Maybe you can take one small action. I would guess, I mean, we don't have time to go into it too much now, but I mean, is there something that you really care about that you're avoiding doing by eating ice cream?
This show, taking it off the ground, but
Yeah. And what does it feel like? Overwhelming? Like, what's the
yes,
feeling that comes
yeah.
up that makes you not want to do it?
The I I don't necessarily know what I guess rejection is the big thing,
Mm-hmm.
not people not liking what I'm putting out. So I think
Yeah.
I think that's what everybody feels, right? So
A lot of
everybody's
people
scared of
struggle with that. Yeah.
doing things new because what if people don't like this?
Yeah. And so I would ask you, is there anyone who is this for?
Who is like the
Who is this
podcast
show
for?
for? Yeah.
Well, I
Like, who
strive.
would you love for people? Who would you love to hear it? Like the kinds of people.
Oh, I like bringing stories like out of people, like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's selfishly, I like hearing what makes people tick and what, you know, seeing them recall a story that puts a smile on their face and makes them happy again.
Yeah.
And then being able to connect to, which the most important part, connect to whoever is watching this.
Mm,
So they say, I feel that too. And
mm,
then they somehow through the internet, through, no matter where they are in the universe, feel connected.
mm. So my challenge to you this week of an action you would take is to take 3 minutes every day this week to imagine that person who you're reaching, what they look like, and see them smiling and what that makes possible in their life. And so, especially the people that are having the hardest days, right?
Right.
See them lighting up and seeing possibility. So connect to connect to that part of it, not the yeah, whatever side you feed is going to grow, right? So if you feed
Right.
the fear side, yeah, there's going to be tons of people that don't like it. But as a reflection, if you have some haters, you're doing something well, you're reaching someone.
That's
And
true.
what I always tell artists is, if you don't put your art out there, no one can ever appreciate it. So if you're holding on to it, you're robbing all the people who will appreciate it of that benefit. And it's like that quote, it's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. But who are you not to shine? Because
Right.
you are a beautiful being that needs to be heard. But it's the people you're trying to reach. So if you can't do it for you, imagine doing it for them, those people over there.
Right.
And does that get you out of bed? Like, just try it for 30 seconds each day this week,
Yep.
and see if something shifts, right? Like, tap into your purpose and your intention and take action towards that, right? Or do you just need a friend or a producer that's like holds you accountable to show up even when you
Right.
don't feel like it, or to
Right.
remind you how awesome you are and to remind you of that person, right? Because it's
Maybe
just a
I always
practice.
need people to tell me how awesome I am.
Why not? Ask your friends. You can ask for it. You can actually say, hey, I need to hear how awesome I am, and I need to remember why I'm doing this podcast.
Right.
I have a friend who lives across the street, and if I ever forget why I'm doing what I'm doing, I just call him. And if I don't want to remember, I don't call him, because he's like, be careful. If I call him, I'm going to hear my greatness. And we actually avoid each other sometimes because we know we have that great listening of each other. But now we don't really avoid it that much anymore. We call like more, we practice reaching out and say, hey, I could use support. Hey, I want to, I don't feel great today. Hey, why am I doing this? And a friend would love to tell you how awesome you are. So where are you not asking for help and trying to do it alone?
It's a great question. That's a great question that usually people don't ask me questions. But speaking of
Listen,
questions,
I'm asking myself that question this year.
I do want to get into my Milo Beasley Show frequently asked
Okay,
questions
let's go.
while we before we run out of time. And these are the same questions that I ask to every guest. They're really they're easy. You theoretically you know all the answers. So first question: what was the first concert you ever attended?
I think it's Aerosmith.
Holy moly!
I believe it's Aerosmith. It's either Aerosmith or Dave Matthews, but I'm pretty sure it's Aerosmith.
That's an awesome that's a tough first concert to beat.
Yeah, it was pretty good. My friends actually got tickets without me, and I was so pissed off at them because they also had me drive them there. That I went in by myself and got a ticket, and it turns out I was like front row with these two beautiful older women, and they were like way up in the nosebleeds, and I was like, "Screw you guys!" I definitely remember that concert.
Question number 2: do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah, you had some weird stuff happen, or just
I just always believe I was going to be like that kid from The Sixth Sense. I don't know. I feel spirits. I believe they're there. I respect them. I haven't seen them. I don't want to see them. But I used to research poltergeists and ghost stories as a kid because I was born right after Halloween, and I'm obsessed with Halloween. So
same, samesies.
enough. I believe in them enough to where I can't watch most horror movies these days because it feels too real.
I don't like Exorcist type movies or anything that could be real.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore.
I'm excited to hear your answer on this one because you talked about your parents before. So this is a slight twist to a common question, but in a movie about your life, who would play your parents?
Oh my God, that's great, man. This is a great question. Wow. I feel like someone wild. I don't know. Like I sort of feel like Meryl Streep is my mom. But I also see like Kate McKinnon as a potential. And then some mix between the two of them. And then my father in a movie. Oh my gosh, that's great. It would be like, well, Richard Chamberlain played this like Willie Nelson kind of character in the movie We Are the Hartmans that I starred in, and so I feel like some like older actor who's playing some wild young hippie would be my dad. So I can't quite picture them. It'd be good. I mean, I see like Ben Stiller a little bit. I see Jeff Bridges, I also see like I don't know, just some quirky theatrical people, like even the parents of like Meet the Fockers, Dustin Hoffman and
right.
Hello.
Susan wait, no. Gosh.
She's only like the most one of
Barbra
the
Streisand
people in the world. Thank you. Yeah, Barbra Streisand. Okay. Keep going. I'm going to be thinking about this all day.
Who is your favorite person to follow on social media?
Wow. These are great questions. I don't have a one. I'd say my friend and coach Preston Smiles is one of my favorites. I feel like he really keeps it real and has a good sense of humor. I really respect him a lot. Another one is the Good News Dog. That's one of my favorite people to follow because they remind me that there's good things happening in the world and to celebrate and look at the positive. And there's a lot of little kids on there too. So it reminds me that like we were once that young and actually
Right.
loved a lot of things and did them unapologetically. So why the F are we not taking action on what we care about right now?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And then question number 5, whether it was on a movie set, commercial set, just again in New
Oh,
York.
also Russell Brand, just because
Russell,
he's,
yes.
yeah, I'm just interesting. I mean, yeah, less in the
I,
political days, but I really like, he comes from the heart and he's real.
absolutely. So again, on set, just passing by again at NYU, what was your biggest fanboy moment where you saw somebody and you're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so and so. I have to meet them, or there is no way I'm going to meet them."
Huh. Oh. My biggest fanboy moment. Um, there's been so many. I'm trying to think. Well, one of the biggest ones was uh, I was I think I was like 10, and we saw Tom Cruise at this Broadway show, and I was obsessed with Top Gun. I knew all of the lyrics to every song in the show. Um, and I was too shy to go see him. And my sister actually went down to say hi, and she was like, my brother's a big fan, and he was with I can't think of anyone's name right now, and Nicole Kidman, and they were engaged or something, and he was
Right.
like, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a very important conversation. We just decided Tom Cruise was like a dick from the rest for the rest of our lives, but like I realized this guy was just actually trying to have a conversation. But that was probably one of the biggest fanboy moments, because I still never met him, and I saw him, he was like right there, and I was like, Tom Cruise. My sister actually went out of her way, my big sister, for
Right.
me. The other one, and where I did meet the person, was I was waiting tables at Tortilla Flats in West Village, New York, which used to be this famous tequila bar, and like a lot of celebrities went there. And it was right after Dell Day, so I was still getting recognized and a waiter, so it was really rough.
Right.
But Mary Louise Parker came in, and I had just finished the seasons of Weeds, the show, and I just thought she was an incredible actress, and I'd seen her on Broadway. And so I stopped her and I told her just how phenomenal I thought she was. Um, and as an artist and actor, and she was really moved by it, and that was really cool.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so that was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I do have to ask you about magic. Do you still practice? Do you still practice magic?
Well, occasionally. Whoa. Yeah, no, I can still do some pretty good stuff. So I don't do it a lot, but I just try to surprise people with, like, and occasionally do things. I really don't practice it professionally anymore, though. That's actually the most magic I've done in a while. But on stage with my band, I occasionally
Yeah.
surprise people with some magic. So that's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, and
That's
I
awesome.
have it actually on my Instagram. You could look up, there's a little magic thing. I don't know how many people see it, but there's actually little bits of me doing magic and playing these characters, and that I did with magic. So it's right there. I did it. I taught it this summer at a circus camp at this amazing school here in Rhinebeck, the Primrose Hill Waldorf School. And so I'm trying to, yeah, I'm sort of bringing it back into my life.
Heck yeah. Heck
I
yeah.
love that you asked
I
about
have
that.
I have no
I
I have
just,
no magician skills, but no magic illusion skills, but I
yet.
love it. I had Curtis Hart on my show one time, who
Oh,
is
cool.
amazing, and he was the hand for Thing
Oh, wow.
in the Adams Family, and he's a fantastic music magician. So yeah, that was really cool.
Didn't you also have Butch Patrick on here? Did I
I
see
did,
him?
yes.
So he's a buddy. He's an old, like, we were friends back in the day of the Dell days, and like
Oh,
me and Eddie Munster and the Dell Dude used to hang out.
that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
we would like go party together.
He was so amazing, so nice. That was
He's such a nice guy. That's, I remember, I meant to ask you about that. I saw him in
yeah.
the preview.
All right. So before we wrap up, where can folks I can see you have it in your name, but where else can folks find you on your socials and your website?
Yeah, my website's bencurtis.co. But if you go to, yeah, all of that right there, any of those, and I just say my Instagram because it's got my link tree in my bio, and you can find the Dell commercials, you can find my band, you can book a call with me, you can get some of my free content as a coach. You can learn everything about me there, so that's good too. But you'll find me.
That's awesome.
If you
Thank you
want to
so
find me, I trust you will. And I would
Yes,
love to hear from you all. Like, seriously, I
this
am,
is the internet. They will
yeah,
find.
I mean, I may have been a celebrity in my day, but I really love to hear from people, and I love to make a difference for people in their lives. And if there's anyone out there who's still trying to go at it alone and knows they could use some support, I would be happy to talk to you and see how I can support you as a coach and as a creative. And just don't forget to do what you love, and don't forget to ask for help. You get to ask for what you want, and then allow other people to show up, and vice versa. And if you want to be of service, ask for places to be of service. A lot of people will show you, they're like, oh yeah, I can help you. Yeah, I got lots you can do for me, lots of places you can be of service. So it's been an honor to be here today too. And I want to thank you.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with me today and spreading the word of motivation, accountability. Those are big things. I think that people often forget those things. So again, thank you for chatting with me today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right,
Well,
thank
I
you all
hope
for
this helps
watching.
someone. Yeah, let us know.
Yep, and yeah, subscribe, but most importantly, tell your friends. We'll see you next week. I don't know who my guest is. We'll figure it out by then. All right. Chat with you later.